Not a problem.
Okay, and Jeff,
All
thank
right.
you
Well,
for being willing to do this for us. We are going to record the workshop. And like I said, if you are interested in any of the flyers, please put your email in the chat box. Also, I'm trying to write down your names, but make sure that after the workshop that you reach out to your child's teacher and just through Dojo and let them know that you attended today so that you can get credit, because not everybody has their full name on their Zoom. So just make sure that you let your child's teacher know so that you do get credit for this. Okay, they're all yours.
wonderful. The only thing I would ask is like, if they're muted, that's cool. And then like at the end, I'll take time for questions. And then I would ask them to direct their questions to you. I don't know, like they can tap something, you recognize it, how you want to direct them to get your attention.
Okay, or if I'll just be watching too, if you just want to raise your hand, there is a button to raise hand, but if you just raise your hand, I'll be watching so that we can make sure that we get everybody.
All right. Well, first of all, thanks, Peggy. I really miss being in school. I miss being with the kids over there, you know, because that's the best way to do anything. But in lieu of that, we're going to try and make the best of it for everybody. It's been a long time since I had the time to visit with you as a group, as the pre-K parent group and your children. So I am going to try and make up for lost time. I'm welcoming you into my personal home. So I'm going to let you know that I practice what I preach. I'm going to show you what I keep around for safety features. I'm going to show you some mistakes that we made, and we'll just get started from there. So with that being said, I am filming this on my phone. So if it moves around a little bit, I apologize for that. I did run through and make my kitchen look a little bit normal instead of the way it does, chaotic like real life. So, but we'll get started. So I didn't get to come in October. So a couple of things I want to make sure that everybody has on hand that you and your family will benefit from are some safety devices that are supposed to be in your home, okay? First and foremost, we're supposed to have our smoke detectors. And right now it's March, and believe it or not, on the 14th, when you go to bed the night of the 13th and you wake up the morning of the 14th, our clocks are supposed to change. If you have a phone, your phone's clock will probably change automatically. If you're old school and you have some of the digital phones or you have battery operated phones, we are supposed to spring forward in time. So before you go to bed on the 13th, change your clock. And when you wake up on the 14th, your time will be correct, okay? So we have a saying in the fire service, change your clocks, change your batteries. And I'm relating to our smoke detectors, okay? Smoke detectors are the things that we're supposed to have in our homes, in our apartments, everywhere we live. It is a law, okay? It is Illinois state law. And if your smoke detector is over 10 years old, it needs to be replaced, okay? If it is still a battery operated, where you have to take the battery out and replace it, now is the time to check the battery in there and replace it. Newer ones are sealing the battery in and we cannot remove them, and they're designed to work for 10 years. That is going to change and become law, okay, within the next 2 years, that all your smoke detectors should be a 10-year sealed smoke detector. But for now, you still may have the old ones where you have to change the battery in the back, okay? And if you're concerned about how old it is, you can go to the back and you can look at the information on the back. And although you might need a magnifying glass, you can find when it was made. If it is over 10 years old, it should come down and be replaced. Here's something a lot of people don't know. If you own your own home, you know you're definitely responsible for this, okay? If you live in an apartment building and you have them in your apartment unit, you are responsible for making sure the battery is up to date and functioning. Some of them also plug into the ceiling and work off of electricity, and that's great. But if your power goes out, they also have battery backups, and it's your responsibility to make sure they work. Your landlord has to make sure they're in the building, but you have to make sure that the battery's there. Now, if it's not working off the electricity, well, then of course you need to contact your landlord or your condo association and look at it from there to see if it's an electrical issue, okay? But smoke detectors should be where you live, okay? They belong now in your bedrooms. They belong in the hallway outside of your bedroom and on every level of your house, okay? So if you have a basement, you need one down there. If you have a main living floor, you need one there by your bedrooms and one in the kitchen area. They have special ones for that. And then you need them in your bedrooms. And we're going to talk about why when we get to home escape plans, okay? So these are your smoke detectors. Walk around, look up at your ceiling around your house. You might be surprised. Some of them are on your wall, but these belong in your house. And pretty soon it's going to be mandatory that they all come with the 10-year sealed battery. But for now, Ms. Regan will have a specific pamphlet that you can access. Spring forward and check your clocks, check your battery, or change your batteries, okay? Change your clocks, change your batteries, and all that information on smoke detectors and 10-year batteries will be in that pamphlet. The next thing that is by law that should be in your home is another detector that alerts you to something you cannot see and you cannot smell and is very dangerous, okay? And it is a carbon monoxide detector. They come in all different sizes and shapes. I happen to choose one that will plug into the wall, and it also has a battery backup behind here. So if power goes out, I still know. Now, what does it look for? It's not looking for smoke like a smoke detector. It's looking for a colorless, tasteless, odorless gas, okay? You have no idea it's in your home, but it is a product of combustion that's unburnt. It's called carbon monoxide. And any heat source, like a stove, a furnace, a dryer, they can give off carbon monoxide that you're not aware of, okay? And it actually makes you groggy and sleepy. So if you happen to have a large carbon monoxide leak at night and you're asleep, you may not wake up. So you have to have one of these in your home, one on every floor of your home, okay? It's a little different than smoke detectors, but you want one on every level of your home. And they have all kinds. So not all of them have a digital readout, but they have different alerts than a smoke detector to let you know if you have carbon monoxide in your home, okay? Last but not least, the other safety device that everyone should have in their home or their apartment, okay, is a fire extinguisher. You would like a fire extinguisher that is light and portable, just like this one, easy to use, okay? And you're looking for one that has the letter A, the letter B, and the letter C on it. A, B, and C. You're also looking for those 3 blue emblems down at the bottom, the one with the, looks like a garbage can, the one with the gas can, and one with the outlet. And what that means is it works on 3 different type of fires or almost any type of fire that you can occur in your home, okay? Now, they're important to have around, but you also need to know how to use them. They're not very expensive, okay? And I will forward Ms. Regan a pamphlet or a flyer on how to use it. But if you don't get that, look, they have instructions, and you should read the instructions long before you ever have to use them. Hopefully you don't, but should you should know how to use it before that happens. So let's go over this a little quick, all right? So when you have a fire extinguisher, where should they be located? My favorite place is to have one under my kitchen sink, okay? Right down here. And I have kids, so I keep safety stops on there. But what I do is it's right here, okay? It's not in the back, it's not behind the plumbing, it's not behind all the other chemicals. It's right here so I can get to it fast. Fire grows and builds very fast. So we need to be able to get to it. If it's back there and I'm all the way in that cabinet, fire could be growing around me and I get hurt or injured. So you keep it there. Some people even hang it on the back of their cabinet, okay? The other place they should be is like in your mechanical room. If you have a washer, dryer, okay, heater. But if you're in an apartment building, sometimes they're in the common areas, in your stairways. You'll see a box, and there should be a fire extinguisher in the box in your hallway if your landlord does not put one in your apartment. If he provides one in your apartment, make it easily accessible, okay? The other thing about fire extinguishers is making the decision to use it. If you have a fire in your home and you choose to use this, okay, one, you should already know how to use it before you go to get it. And if you're going to use it, let's use my kitchen for an example. Let's say I have a fire in this area on my stove, okay? And I choose to use my fire extinguisher. I get it from out from underneath the counter. And what I do is I know I have a way out right here, which is my exit to the front door. And I know I have a way out right there, which is my back door to the steps, okay? I'm going to be, fire's going to be in front of me. I'm going to be in the middle, and my exits are going to be at my back, okay? Now, to use a fire extinguisher, normally there is a pin here, so you will pull, okay? Then you're going to aim at your fire. Then you're going to squeeze, and then you're going to do this sweeping motion. And you always do that at the bottom of the fire. If you shoot at the top of the flames, the chemical in here is very light, like baby powder. It will blow away like a cloud, okay? So you pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. That'll be in the information that you get. And you sweep it towards the bottom of the fire, okay? Once this is done, you're done. You should be making your way to the exit, getting out of the house, and calling 911. Okay, and that's it for your fire extinguishers. Know how to use it. Make sure they're in the proper location. If you have to use it, make sure you are between the fire and an exit. You use it, you're done. No more going back for the fire. Okay, then you should be out calling 911 and letting the fire department come to check, make sure you put it out. Or if it's still going, you slowed it down, we'll finish the job. Okay. So those are the three devices: our smoke detector, our carbon monoxide detector, and our fire extinguisher. All should be available to you with ease of access and functioning in your home or apartment or condo, wherever you live. All right, very important. Now, I'm going to quickly talk about home escape plans before I get into the feature presentation of the day. I'm going to challenge myself to cook while you're watching, believe it or not. But as I do that, before we get into cooking, we're going to talk about cooking. And I picked it because it's going to teach you how to, you can teach your smaller children how to learn what's hot and what's not, okay? Cold and hot. You can teach them the proper behavior in the kitchen so that we don't have any accidental burn injuries. And you might learn how to make a quick treat today if I do it right. So we'll find out. All right, but let's talk about your home escape plan, because I said I was going to try to cover a lot because I haven't seen anybody this year. Your home escape plans. Know a minimum of 2 ways out of your home, okay? You as an adult should know 2 ways out of every area of your home. Your little children should know 2 ways out of their bedroom, primarily their doors and their windows. And there's information that I sent that will give you tips on how to make your home escape plan, okay? When you make the home escape plan, even though you are adults, practice the worst case scenario. If there is smoke, I would like you to practice crawling and set an example for your children. Crawl and find your way out of your home. So know your 2 ways out. Sleep with your bedroom doors closed, because that is what keeps the smoke from coming in your room, okay? If for some reason your smoke detector isn't working or you don't have one, we don't smell when we're sleeping. It's strange, but we don't. So sleep with that closed. Let your smoke detector do its job to alert you. And if your door is closed, you wake up in a nice, clean room and atmosphere, just like I'm talking to you from. But if your door is open when you're sleeping, then it can be full of their poisonous smoke. That's why we practice crawling. If you can see like this, absolutely walk. But practice the crawl, because that's what might happen, and you'll be better off for it. And then know how to get out your front door, know how to get out your back door, and you have to know if your windows work, okay? Once you get outside, make sure you go to a safe meeting place. Make sure your whole family knows that I want to meet you there, so that you can make sure you count everybody. And when a fireman shows up and says, "Is your family out?" You say, "Yes, all of us are here." Then we go in your home or your building and we put the fire out, and we don't have to worry about finding anyone, which makes our job a little easier, okay? But if someone is missing when you get outside, you know your home or where you live much better than we do. When we go in, we have to treat it like a maze. And we're going to crawl like you crawl out. We're going to crawl and we're going to use our hands to feel our way around. Well, that slows us down. So if you're outside and you know exactly where the person who's missing, if you know where their bedroom is and you can point to it, or you can describe it to us, you save us time. You make us faster. Then we can go in. We're going to make some firefighters go look for whoever's missing. We're going to take some firefighters and save time. So make sure you review those home escape plans. They are critical on helping us help you. All right. Now let's get into the fun part of this. Let's talk about kitchen safety and possible burns. All right. So I have my kitchen set up for you. This is my microwave up here, my oven down there, my stove top nice right here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we're talking, I'm going to take and I'm going to turn on the burner to this first one, and we're going to let that water start to boil. Okay. We're going to let it get nice and hot. We're going to show you what steam looks like, and you'll be able to show your kids what steam looks like if they're watching with you. Because right now we took the water out of the tap. If you took it out of the tap and you had it on the cold side, they might not know cold. They don't always know steam is hot. And especially for those little ones, man, they grow up with their eyes by learning. They learn to listen, but they watch so much of what you do. Okay. So I'm going to try and give you some good habits for the kitchen that will prevent injuries that I have been on for ambulance calls that are that can be devastating, okay? So if you look carefully, this pot handle, I am cooking on the front of the stove, but my pot handle is to the side. I have my skillet here, and my pot handle is a little blurwish. Okay, my pot handle is to the side again, okay? If you're gonna cook at the front of the stove, and we all do, please turn your handle to the side of the stove, to the back of the stove, or to the middle of the stove. The worst place for any handle is sticking out. I'll show you that. If you leave your handle like this, what do the little hands want to do? They want to be like the grown-ups, okay? If they're like a grown-up and they take that pot handle and they pull down on it, okay? Well, pretty soon we're gonna have a boiling pot of water. If we have that boiling pot of water and that little hand pulls down on top of the handle, they just took a scalding hot bath, and they can get 2nd and 3rd degree burns from that. A lot of children don't always know water can be hot. They just think fire is hot at their age. So you have to explain there's other things besides fire that are hot. For example, like the water we're gonna boil to make soup, to make hot chocolate, to make a lot of things, okay? To make pasta. So water can be hot, and we'll show them what hot water looks like, okay? But here's another thing. When you're in the kitchen, if they are not directly helping you and you're teaching them how to make a favorite treat, or you're holding them or doing whatever, as long as you're with them and you are instructing them, that is fantastic because there's a lot to learn here. If the child is not helping you, you need to teach them to respect the area around the stove. They should not be playing anywhere in this kitchen. They belong in the room, they belong in the next room if they are not directly helping you, okay? We like to teach them to stay an arm's length away or 3 feet away, whatever you can help them do to stay away from the front of the stove. If they stay away from the front of that stove, they're gonna be great, okay? So far we've only talked about the top of the stove. We've got our boiling pot of water, okay? I have over here a skillet, and what I have here on top of the skillet is a splatter shield. A lot of food that we cook can contain grease, okay? Grease can catch fire, but before grease catches fire, a lot of times it splatters or spits or makes a funny noise and it shoots itself out of the stove, okay? One of the things we can do to prevent minor burns and splattering from grease is this splatter shield, okay? But if we were not using a splatter shield and we started cooking and we had a lot of grease, okay, you can put a grease fire out with your fire extinguisher, but now you pretty much just shot powder at everything. It's a better alternative than a fire in your house and losing your house, okay? So you can fight a grease fire with this. You start 6 to 10 feet back, aim at the bottom of the fire. If you shoot this directly into your pan of grease, okay, it will splatter and it may catch other things, but the powder could more than likely still put the fire out. One simple way to fight, oh, there was a zoom, hello. One simple way to fight a grease fire is to make sure you have the proper lid for the pan available before you start cooking. Let me say that again. Before you start cooking, make sure that pan is out and available to you. If it is, again, where I normally keep this, if I'm cooking with that pan, and I put it right down here in this cabinet, it's at the back or it's under 10 other things, now I'm below the fire and the fire is getting bigger, okay? If I had something around here decorative, it could catch fire. So if it was a grease fire, one of the things you can do is take the proper lid right over the top. That takes away oxygen. Fire is like us, it needs oxygen and air to breathe. If we take away the oxygen, you might see a lot of smoke, but that fire will eventually go out and everything will cool off. But anytime you have even a minor fire in your house, please call us. We have a way to look at things to make sure the fire is out. If it got a little bit out of control and we think it got the cabinets maybe on fire, or if it got in the wall, we have special cameras that we can look at to see if the fire went any further than you may think it, whether, if you don't know, call us. We'd like to be called and we'd be happy to tell you, no, you did a great job. Everything's out. It's okay to go back in your house. It's safe. That's a much better way to do it. Absolute worst thing that you should never do is take a cup, fill it with water, and throw it at a grease fire. Never, ever, I repeat, do not ever do that. Only use the proper things I showed you. Fire extinguisher or the lid, or get out, okay? Water and grease don't blend. The grease will float on top of the water and you will make the flames bigger. And if there's anything next to that stovetop that can catch fire, I promise you it will. If you throw water at a grease fire, you just made it a whole lot bigger. And now you need to get out because your fire extinguisher probably won't work, okay? So in quick review, we've talked about our stovetop. We want our handles to the side because now we have that boiling water, okay? If you're watching closely, I don't know if you can see the steam on there yet, but there is steam rising, okay? And that water is bubbling. That very much means that's hot. So we do not want our small children or even ourselves, if we were to walk past this and bump it and knock it off, we could burn our whole lower body. So keep your pan handles turned away from the stove, okay, to the side, to the middle. But you have another option too. If you're not using everything, you can always cook to the back of the stove. If you can choose a back burner and you're only cooking a small meal, that's the preference, okay? So now we know what the hot water is and we've covered the top of the stove, okay? I'm gonna turn it off. And I'm gonna move it to the back of the stove so I don't accidentally bump it, okay? Now you can see the steam rising very well, okay? That, boys and girls, means hot, all right? So let's talk about the bottom half or the oven, okay? Right now you see it like we normally keep it every day. We can keep drying towels on there because it's a convenient place. We can wipe our hands or grab it to wipe a pot. But if I'm going to bake in this stove, I must remove these, okay? Because it can get hot and you don't want anything bad to happen there. All right, now I'm gonna come down low to the front of the stove. Children often don't know that this is hot when you're cooking at 350 degrees. Some things call for 425 if you're baking like tater tots or something like that, okay? But they do, they get very warm and sometimes there's light on. You know, it's like a moth to the flame. Kids are curious. They want to know what their adult is doing. They see a light on, they're gonna peek, okay? They might even pull a handle. So you must teach them to respect that safety zone while you're in the kitchen. If they're not directly involved with helping you, then you need to teach them to stay that arm's length away or play in another room, okay? Now, on the top of the stove, we put a fire out in our grease. With our grease fire, we use the lid to slide over the top, okay? If you see smoke pouring out of the front of your oven and you open it, don't be surprised if you get a lot of flame, because what happened is you let oxygen in. You let air in. If you let air into your oven, then it has what it needs to grow and make flames, okay? If you experience a fire in here, okay, leave it closed, okay? Turn it off and things will cool down. You'll have smoke, but you will not have given it air to become bigger. It'll only have so much air in the space in your oven, and then it will make itself go out, okay? But again, there is no reason not to call 911 to let us come and make sure that it hasn't gotten beyond your stove or something behind your stove, okay? I know we're all a little embarrassed when we have a problem when we cook. Really, we are so used to it, we don't laugh. We probably would laugh about us remembering something we did wrong in the kitchen, more so than we would you, because we're quite used to coming out for a bad cook here and there, okay? So leave the front of this closed and you'll have some smoke. Call us and we'll do the investigation. If you open it up, you run the risk of the smoke coming out and the flame becoming flame because you introduced air and it could burn you. So the safest thing to do is leave it closed, right? I even have our fake pan in there. Yay. All right, now let's move on to the fun part. A lot of kids these days, as they grow up, if you have not just a preschooler, you have an older child who's responsible for doing some cooking on their own. Well, they're the modern kid. They like to use the most convenient way. The most convenient way is the microwave things, okay? The microwave is, you don't ever see flame. And smaller children don't know that things are hot, okay? And if we take and we put a coffee mug in there and they don't know what steam looks like, if we put that coffee mug in there, okay, some kids, you'll take this right out of there, you'll take it out of the microwave, you'll set it down right there, they don't always know that it's hot. They don't know the indicators that a coffee mug can be hot or a bowl is hot until we teach them how to blow on like a bowl of soup or a bowl of breakfast cereal that's warm. Okay. So they have to know things coming out of the microwave are hot, even though they don't see flame. If they do see steam, they know the steam is hot, but they also need to know the container is hot because the microwave gets everything excited. And even though it's water, or what we're going to make today is a cake inside of our coffee cup, we're going to make a little cupcake. Aha. The vessel itself will be hot. Okay. But let's talk about microwaves. It has a door. Okay. Your oven or your stove had the door. If you have a fire in the microwave, chances are you might see it because the light's on and you'll have smoke going. Much like what I said down here for the oven, okay, keep this door closed. If you open it, again, that gives it the opportunity to have air get in there, and when it gets air, it gets oxygen, and that could create the flames. Keep it closed. Turn off your power button. If it's not getting any more energy, just like if you turn off the oven, if it's not getting more heat, if this is not getting any more energy, it will not continue to make the fire bigger. The contents will eventually not have oxygen and start to cool off and go out. The other thing you could do is if you have access to where this is plugged in and you can safely unplug it, simply unplug it, okay? Mine happens to be up here in these cabinets, so it probably wouldn't be my first choice. My first choice is going to be to turn it off, leave it closed, and I know I'll have some smoke, and I'll call 911 to make sure that they can check that it hasn't gotten beyond my fire. Okay? But if you do that, there's a good chance it hasn't. But let us, again, check, because we have special cameras where we can look in the walls, we can look in your cabinets, and we can kind of make sure that everything is all right, right? And we might even be able to help you with somebody to call to fix your oven or stove, because we'll probably shut it off. Once it has a fire, it's a safety hazard, and we'll probably shut it off at the gas. We'll make sure this is unplugged, and we'll make sure it's safe for you to go to bed or do whatever you have to do after the fire, okay? So before we start cooking, quick review. Microwaves, we'll work our way backwards. Microwaves, they get things hot through energy and things that we can't see. Teach your kids that things come out of this microwave are hot. For the older kids or adults that are cooking by themselves, if a fire does happen in here, leave the door closed, turn it off, unplug it if you can, all right? Always keep metal out of here. Metal will start a fire, all right? Our stove top, first priority, cook at the back, okay? Keep the handles turned to the middle or turned to the side. Never at the front of your stove or a small child could grab it and tilt it. Options for putting out a fire on top of the stove. Have the lid that fits the pan available. If the lid for the pan is available, simply over the top, okay? Boiling water at the back, okay? We always have an option for a fire extinguisher, okay? But again, 6 to 10 feet back, you must know how to use this before you challenge a fire, and always keep the fire in front of you, you're in the middle, and your exit's at your back in case it's something that doesn't work out. No, this will slow it down. It may not put it out. Sometimes it puts it out. Always call 911 if you use it, okay? Oven fires, okay? If you get an oven in here, if you get a fire in there, close the door, keep the door closed, turn it off, call 911, all right? You'll have smoke, but you won't make anything bigger, all right? Devices for your own safety in the home. We beat this one up, smoke detector, or fire extinguisher, carbon monoxide. All right. I hit test. There we go. Okay. I hit the test button. I know it works, and that was a total accident, but worked out well. So a carbon monoxide detector, they come in different forms. I have a digital one that tells me how much carbon monoxide is in the home, okay? It plugs in and it has a battery backup. These are critical. A lot of people aren't aware of these. They should be. This is a very deadly, odorless, tasteless, colorless gas. You do not even know it's in your home until you're monitoring for it, okay? And it comes from things like your oven or your stovetop or your heater for your home, okay, or a fireplace, because it comes from unburnt combustion. And it can and does kill if you don't monitor for it, okay? Last but not least, our smoke detectors. These are all slowly being changed over to 10-year sealed batteries, which means every 10 years you should replace these. Right now, if you're over 10 years old with this, you should buy a new one. If you can, you buy the one that already has the 10-year battery sealed into it. But whatever one you can afford is the effective one, okay? Look at the back, try and find the date. You might need a magnifying glass. If it's over 10 years old, okay, you want to have it replaced. At the very least, we are springing forward and we're changing our clocks. So you should locate these in wherever you live. Make sure you change the battery, make sure it still works, give it a test, okay? Now we're gonna do a little cooking, all right? Time for some fun. If you wanna welcome your kids into the kitchen and you wanna have them in an environment, which we all do, keep them close to us, you wanna make a treat for the day, you wanna reward them, you can teach them hot and cold by cooking with them. They can learn how to be safe by having fun at the same time, okay? Now, I used to, one year, I think it was Valentine's Day or something like that, I bought these coffee mug cakes for my kids. It came with the mug and a batter that you stuck in it, and they loved it. Well, now, like anything, now, because I'm teaching you, I am committed to being in the kitchen. Anytime you are cooking, okay, the thing that I'm talking to you on is a huge distraction for a lot of people. How many times we've gone to kitchen fires because somebody started cooking, got on their cell phone, completely forgot they were cooking, or started cooking late at night because they were hungry, fell asleep on the couch. That's how accidents happen a lot of times. Okay, if you're paying attention most of the time, you're not going to burn stuff or have that accident. But when you are cooking, it is imperative you stay in the kitchen, because I know those little people that walk around your home, they're lightning fast, especially when you're not looking. And they're in all kinds of mischief or trouble before you even blink. So stay in the kitchen while you're cooking. All right, we have our butter out. We're going to put it right here. I'll move our screen. Okay, now I got to check my notes. There are simpler ones. I found this recipe on Pinterest. I got to give it full credit. All right, so I melted my butter and we're going to whisk together our vanilla, our egg yolk, our milk, and our sugar. Sounds good already. Okay, so I got our bowl. Got our flour. Hang on, put the flour back. We want our vanilla. Aha, teaspoon of vanilla. All right, there's a teaspoon. Okay, we got our vanilla. I have other skills I can sometimes cook. I already separated our egg yolk from the whites. Okay, we got that in there. I need the sugar. I got the sugar right here, and I need a tablespoon of milk. I gotta grab my milk. I forgot that. All right, this is gonna be interesting. I'm gonna eyeball it because we're doing it one-handed. Oh, and it's a brand new gallon. I don't even have to check the expiration date. See, brand new gallon. Off the top. All right, I'm estimating 1 tablespoon. There we go. What's the worst thing it can do is be an extra moist cake, right? All right, I'm going to whisk that together. And I picked it because I think it's ingredients everybody has around the house. We're going to put that there. Now that goes into our coffee mug. I will give that a quick stir. Now I know I'm on track. When I take the flour and I add a little bit of the baking powder, put that together. Okay. You want me to mix that up a little bit? That's easy. I can do that with a fork. Okay, and this recipe calls for sprinkles. Well, it's almost St. Patrick's Day. March is celebrated by a lot of people, even if you're not Irish. So I picked some Irish colors, green and blue and white. Mix that in our flour. Okay. So far we got sugar, vanilla extract, flour, baking powder, an egg yolk, some milk, sprinkles of your choice. Nothing complicated. Now, the part that I've done with these other ones is you get all of this in there. And the key to making this come out successful is make sure you mix it really good. So it looks like down in the mug. Did you get a good shot in the mug? Did you see down in there? All right, good. All right. Now, Miss Regan, I'll have about 90 seconds to answer a question or two after I stick this in the microwave. All right.
Okay.
So, all right, wish me luck. Don't want it to blow up in there or anything else like that. We'll see how it turns out. The other fun thing about this is you can help them learn how to tell time or count, because 90 seconds is a minute, but I have to set mine for 1:30. Okay. And I push start, and here we go. Hopefully we got the luck of the Irish today, and that turns out good.
Does anyone have any questions for Jeff about fire safety or any of the information that he shared?
No, thank you.
I thought that was really great. I think it was great. I think you should always do them from your kitchen. I think you should do this from your kitchen because it was really good to be able to kind of visualize while you were giving the information out too.
Wonderful.
So
Hopefully my camera skills get better.
it's hard to do. Look at you. You're very handy. You're baking, you're educating us. And again, also, please don't forget if you're interested, because the information that Jeff provided, the pamphlets that he sent are all really good. So just send me your email in the chat. I know I did get a couple already, and I'll make sure I send that right out to you so that you have access to it right on your computer.
I don't know how well you can see inside there. I get probably too much of a glare. Oh, I don't know what you're seeing there.
I can see.
Oh, you can see the cup.
Yeah. Have you made this before?
It's going around. I've made other similar style cakes like this in the mugs. I had the advantage of teaching something similar to a couple other classrooms.
Okay.
And I did other recipes, but I found a different one that I wanted to try. So we'll see how it turned out.
Jeff also
right,
did give me this recipe. So if anyone's interested in this recipe, I can send it to you as well.
So you can see some of the steam coming from the top. Now this was just in the microwave for a short time, 90 seconds. So this is probably a 3-minute project. If that, it might take you longer to put the ingredients together. 3 minutes for this kind of treat. You got to know that this part is very, very hot. I don't want anything to do with touching that because I'll burn my fingers. I'm going to gently touch the handle because sometimes when you use a cup in the microwave, even the handle will get hot. So I'm touching it gently. I know this handle is good. I'll bring it out. The star of our show is right there. Get some good lighting in there. Ah, there we go. Okay. Now, the trick to this is that is all very hot, the contents. So you want to let it sit for a minute or two and really be patient before you enjoy it. Okay? Now, because it is also getting close to St. Patrick's Day, I figured I'd finish this off with a little St. Patty's Day bling. Better from the left-handed. We'll go with some green. And green sugar. Yes.
You're all set.
I am. I'm going to enjoy this. Might even
Yeah.
crack out some ice cream. Peg, that's it. If they don't have any questions, I think
Okay.
I reviewed as we went. You know, it's very important for them to have the fire extinguisher accessible and know how to use it if they ever have to. If they do decide to use it, it only works for so long. Make sure you're aiming at the bottom of the fire and that you are between the fire and your way out so you can get out if the fire gets bigger. Okay. Always call 911 if you had to use a fire extinguisher to put out the fire. Always call 911 if you have a small fire in your oven or your microwave, because we can look for things that you may not be aware of. But if you do that, you've done a great job of making sure you keep it closed and not get any bigger. Like again, some smoke will sneak out, but you won't hurt yourself, or you won't have the potential to hurt yourself if you leave it closed. Okay, because then it will run out of oxygen or air and it'll just stay smoky and it'll cool off and less chance for you to hurt yourself. Okay. When it comes to the top of the stove and you want to involve kids, even if they're not cooking, make sure your pots and pans are to the back or your handles are turned in. Curious kids are wonderful. I've had them. They're all grown up. They're still curious, but you want to prevent them from having them life-altering injuries such as burns if they were to pull something down on the from the top of the stove. And you don't even want to burn yourself like that, because a burn, whether it comes from direct fire or it comes from a liquid, burns are a long, painful healing process. Not only does the burn hurt, but the healing process is long and painful as well. So it's best to avoid all that type of situation. And then with your microwave, very simple and easy to use, convenient foods. A lot of them just have follow the instructions on the back. Make sure you push the right numbers. A lot of times you think you're cooking for 20 minutes and you hit much longer than that. Some of them will go for 2 hours and you forget about it. Next thing you know, we have a microwave fire, but we talked about how to deal with that. So with everybody in good hands and in good communication with Miss Regan, I hope everyone has a great weekend. I hope those that are Irish or are going to be Irish for the month enjoy that. And I look forward to when I can get back into school and see you and your kids.
Thank you so much, Jeff. This was really great. I absolutely enjoyed watching it and listening. I learned things today too. And just so you know, moms, this will be recorded. It was recorded. So if you want to relook at it, it'll be on our school's YouTube channel as well. And just one last reminder, don't forget to let your child's teacher know that you did attend today so that you can credit. But thank you guys for coming. Sorry about the technical difficulties in the beginning. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Jeff, so much. Thank you.
You got it.